Arena. I say we are back here. I don't think you've left here.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not
yet. Back-to-back weekends for you.
Yes.
I'm Justin Kinner. Candace Allen with you here on our OHSAA Facebook Live profiles, of course, the social media live profiles. Excited to be with you. It's the 2026 OHSAA Boys Basketball State Championships here at the University of Dayton Arena. We have crowned 3 state champions, and we're going to keep that train rolling. We are here in Division 7 as the Kalida Wildcats, who have not won a state championship since 2009, getting set to go up against a team in Delphos St. John's who, well, they haven't lost a game yet this season.
Undefeated.
Yeah.
The only boys team here undefeated coming into a Division 7 state championship. What a run they're having.
They are, and you know what's interesting? So you and I were here last weekend for the girls' state championships, and there were 4 teams between the 7 divisions. There were 4 teams that made it to not just the state tournament, but to the state finals, just like Delphos St. John's has done here tonight. And the crazy part about it was last week in the girls' tournament, 4 undefeated teams made it to the state final. Only one of those 4 undefeated teams actually ended the season undefeated. Kettering Fairmont, they were able to hold on to remain undefeated for a state championship.
Hold on is what they did. So, St. John is going to have their work cut out for them. I mean, you come in with that kind of pressure, being undefeated. It can play a part into it. You're playing against a team truly who has nothing to lose. All the pressure is on the team that hasn't lost a game this season.
Absolutely. And Kalida, they've been playing some of their best basketball coming into this stretch. Now, their record not even nearly close to being as unblemished, of course, as St. John's. But the most unique thing about any kind of postseason tournament is sometimes you throw records out the window. It's, you want to be playing your best basketball at the right time. That's what Kalida has done to get to this point, and that's what makes this matchup so unique. In fact, St. John's and Kalida, they are ending their season against one another, but they also started their season against one another in a game in which, obviously, Delphos St. John's came out on top.
Right, and it was a 15-point win at that. So hopefully first game of the season, I don't know how much, putting my coach's hat on, I don't know how much you can take from that first game. Albeit just saying, look, you can't underestimate your opponent if you're St. John. You faced them before. It's not going to be an easy win. The lights are bright, and we'll see what happens in this championship game.
Obviously, all eyes are going to be on one of the most electric scores in the history of boys basketball here in the state of Ohio. Talk about our star player for Delphos St. John's and what we can expect from him here tonight.
I mean, Cameron Elwer, one of 3 Elwers on this team.
Which Elwer? That Elwer.
Right, which one? In their previous game, he had 18.7 rebounds. He's going to Furman University. He's a Mr. Basketball finalist. I mean, as we kind of expect with these big-time players, you just expect him to show up big. And it's going to be on Kalida to try to stop him. You can do what we'll talk about them. Lutheran East did last game. They really face-guarded the player the entire game. He didn't even get going until, the 4th quarter. So they have to adjust to whatever defense Kalida is going to throw at them, but Cameron's going to have to show up and play.
Absolutely. All right, here's the deal. I'm Justin Kenner, Candace Allen. Her and I, we're going to step away for a quick moment. When we come back, we're going to recap what we just saw in Division 5, and then we'll have a couple other guests come on later on in the program as well. We got a lot more to get into. It's the 2026 OHSAA Boys Basketball State Championships. We're in Division 7 as the Kalida Wildcats get set to take on Delphos St. John's, the Blue Jays. We'll get to all of that and more when we come back.
Welcome to the OHSAA.
Every day we work too.
Take the regulations on these pages
and to apply them to real-life situations.
To serve our member schools.
And our officials.
And to run the best state tournaments in the country.
It's our mission.
To serve our member schools.
And enrich interscholastic opportunities for students.
Welcome.
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 Welcome to the OHSAA.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Ohio, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
At Raising Cane's, we hand batter every chicken finger, mix every cane sauce, butter every Texas toast, stir every slaw, and salt every fry. Because when you do it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
All right, we welcome you back. University of Dayton Arena, the host site, one of the host sites, I should say, for the 2026 OHSAA Boys Basketball State Championships. I don't know if you saw, we're going to talk more D1 and D2 as we go throughout the day and into tomorrow, because we'll crown D1 and D1 and D2 champions tomorrow. But the Nutter Center, there for a couple of these matchups today out of D1 and 2, there was not a seat available at the Nutter Center.
Yeah, just the atmosphere. Again, a change from last year. All the regional sites around the state, they brought everything down here to Dayton. You get the Final Four. The Nutter Center seems to have the crowds. We wish. Look behind us. It's starting to fill up a little bit, so hopefully the crowds will come here inside the University of Dayton Arena.
Yep, absolutely. Look, these smaller schools from these smaller communities, what makes it great is they bring the whole community. And you have two smaller schools who are about to bring the whole community for both sides out tonight, Kalida and St. John's. As we mentioned earlier, it's the Division VII state championship here at University of Dayton Arena. Delphos St. John's and Kalida opened up the season against one another, and they're going to close out the season against one another. We'll have more on that coming up here in just a moment. But, again, I'm Justin Kinner, Candace Allen with you. And we just got done watching and covering the Division V state championship. In fact, that's the third division champion that we've crowned here this weekend. Trotwood out of Division III, which we'll talk about more in a moment. Wyoming out of Division IV. But how about this? A record-setting championship for Lutheran East. They become the first boys team, the first boys program in the history of the OHSAA to win not one, not two, not three, but 4 straight OHSAA state championships.
It's just incredible. And you have to see with the players they have on their roster, it's not all seniors. They very well could be the favorite next year. It's just a well-run program, a well-coached program, so much success in the last few years. And that's the way they play. They can beat you in any kind of way. They have a versatility where they can match their opponent. Normally you have coaches who say, you play at your own level, not at the level of your opponent. But no, they see how the other team plays. They recognize it. Then they change the way they play and then beat you at it. So Lutheran East is just a dominant defensive team. And then when they have to score, they do.
Yeah, again, Lutheran East, throughout this tournament run, averaged just over 80 points per game. They won in the semifinals by scoring in the 30s. And then they put up 50 today and some late points kind of late in the game that had gotten away a little bit. But you talked about that key word being versatile, that versatility of that Lutheran East team. For them to be able to win in the 80s, win in the 90s, to win in the 30s, to win in the 50s, they know how to adapt their style of play, and that's what they did as they came out on top 50-36 over Columbus Academy. We knew that was going to be a historic matchup because Columbus Academy had never won the state championship. They had a great season, again, but we've said this 3 straight years, now 4 straight years. Lutheran East just too much to handle.
Yeah, just too much firepower, but too much defensive pressure. I mean, they held Jason Singleton. He had 17 points, I believe. However, Chris Hill from Lutheran East face guarded him nearly the entire first half. A lot of those points didn't even come until the second. So they took their main scorer, main ball handler off the floor. He wasn't really effective. And then Devontae Perkins, 18 points, 12 boards. He was nearly unstoppable down there in the post. Anytime Lutheran East needed a basket, he was able to go get it. What can you say about that Lutheran East team? But sometimes you talk about it with dominant teams like that. It's just in their DNA. The players know what to expect when they come in, and that's just a win.
Absolutely. It's the offense that we always talk about when it comes to Lutheran East, but it was the defense. You talked about Singleton, who finished with 17 points for Columbus, but 15 of those 17 all came in the second half.
Just an incredible feat. You keep a nearly 26-point score, 2 points in the first half, and then if you look in that first quarter, I believe they only had 5 points. So Lutheran East just came out, put their foot on the gas. They had a 26-point lead in the fourth quarter. So even when you look at the final score, it doesn't just tell you I'll call it a defensive masterpiece that Lutheran East put in for their 4th straight state title.
All right, well, it's been a busy weekend. We've crowned a Division III champion, the Trotwood Rams. The Wyoming Cowboys crowned Division IV state champions. Lutheran East, shout out to them, 4 straight championships. They were crowned Division V state champions just a little bit ago. Now we're in Division VII. St. John's, undefeated on the season, getting set to take on the Kalida Wildcats in our Division VII showdown. We'll have more on that as well as the entire state tournament weekend. We have a couple more guests we'll introduce to you when we come back.
Hi, I'm Doug Ute, Executive Director of the Ohio High School Athletic Association. For more than 115 years, the OHSAA has promoted school sports as an important part of the student's educational experience. Interscholastic athletics teach participants lifelong lessons of hard work, teamwork, and self-discipline, along with sportsmanship, integrity, getting along with others, and overcoming adversity. One thing the pandemic has taught us is that being on a team with our friends is more important than ever before. So as you continue your journey in athletics, remember the importance of also working hard in the classroom. Always give your best, never give up, and have fun while you're doing it. As an Ohio native and former athlete who learned these same lessons myself, I encourage our young people to focus on your academics so that you can continue the privilege of participating on your team. After all, the lessons that school sports teach us today will prepare you for the wins and losses in life tomorrow. Education is the key to life's successes.
At Raising Cane's, we hand batter every chicken finger, mix every cane sauce, butter every Texas toast, stir every slaw, and salt every fry. Because when you do it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
All right, everybody, we welcome you back. It's the Division VII state finals here at the University of Dayton Arena. St. John's and Kalida getting set to go head-to-head. We've crowned a state champion out of Division III, the Trotwood Rams. What an unbelievable run for them. The Division III state championship run, 5 points separated all three games out of Division III. That's how competitive Division III was. Trotwood, congratulations to the Rams here, very close to Dayton, of course. Wyoming, the Cowboys, out of Division IV. They also were crowned champions this weekend as well. And then we just saw Lutheran East cap off a historic run. 4 straight state championships, never been done at the boys level. And Lutheran East may not be done. That's their 5th championship in 8 years. And they're bringing, on paper, everyone's supposed to come back next season. We'll see what happens. But it's been a historic state tournament run already. And I wanted to continue the fun. Let's introduce our next guest. We'll start down here at the end. Let everyone know your name and what you've been doing this weekend.
Hey everyone, I'm Scott Reeves. I'm the Assistant Superintendent in Westerville City Schools. I'm also a member of the Central District Athletic Board for OHSAA, and I've been ripping and running back and forth between the Nutter Center and UD Arena, watching some great basketball and communities celebrate their kids.
Absolutely. The Nutter Center and UD Arena have been fantastic host sites. The crowds have been great. Sir, tell everyone your name, your background, and just how excited you've been about this tournament.
Sure. Dr. Keith Bell, and I'm a former OHSAA board member. I'm a recovering superintendent from Northeast Ohio. Currently work with Ohio State University with high school students. The Ohio State University with high school students that are doing research and leadership and advocacy in their schools, and having a good time, enjoying the tournament, enjoying the competitiveness, and enjoying the atmosphere.
Absolutely. And sir, you know, with you being a former board member, I mean, you see the way the OHSAA, the way the state basketball tournament, really all state athletics has grown over the years. Your thoughts on just seeing the growth and development of high school athletics here in the state over the years?
Yeah, I think that Doug's done an outstanding job with navigating kind of a moving target, because you've got a lot of conversation about NIL and all of the different things that you have to be up on. And I think that the association has been proactive in trying to involve as many students as possible, giving them an opportunity to compete at multiple levels. And then I like the fact that they're incorporating a lot of the academic support and academics into what they're doing, so they're making sure that when kids leave, that they not only have athletic skills, but they have an academic background as well. So I think that all of those things have gone well, and I give them a lot of credit for really staying on the cutting edge of all of the new technology and all the different things that are occurring.
Absolutely. I'll repeat the same question on this side. You just see the growth of sports in the state of Ohio over the years. I know it's a polarizing topic. It's an over-discussed topic, but whether you like the 7 divisions or not, the bottom line is that these sports, that they've grown, and the state tournament has grown, and there's more opportunity, there's more student athletes, more opportunities and experiences for these communities, for these schools. It's been pretty exciting to watch over the last couple of years, and to the OHSAA's credit, they continue to tweak it. They're not just forcing change on everybody and saying deal with it. They're trying to adapt, and we saw that this year, bringing the semifinals and finals back to the same weekend.
Yeah, well, we expanded to 7 divisions last year. And that means you have 21 games totals, 14 semifinal games, 7 finals. That is too much for one single venue. And so they did last year the Final Four the weekend before. But the tradition of basketball in our country with colleges and high schools is the Final Four weekend. And so hats off to Wright State, who've been an amazing partner to allow us to go back and forth like we once did in football between Massillon and Canton to fit all the games into one weekend. We've not only expanded divisions, we've expanded sports. We have doubled the number of young women playing flag football in the last year. That is growing by leaps and bounds. We have added boys volleyball. We have added girls wrestling. So the core mission is about giving kids opportunities through education-based athletics, celebrating kids, celebrating communities. More divisions, more support, more sports does that.
You talked about those communities. I mean, I know both of you just left the Nutter Center. All we've heard about is that there wasn't a single seat available there. This place is going to be full. 2 small communities, but the entire communities are showing up. A lot of high school basketball fans taking in high school basketball last weekend for the girls tournament and this weekend for the boys.
Yeah, and Dr. Bell, he can tell you a lot about the growth of basketball from St. John Arena to the shot, back to here, back to the shot. It's just a great environment. I love this environment. It's loud. Even if it's half full, it seems loud. Yep. It's a great venue for kids to play in. And that's one of the things that OHSAA has prided itself in, is giving these kids world-class facilities for their world-class memories that they're going to have.
Absolutely. Look, I grew up all the state tournaments, basketball tournaments being held at the Shot. There was something special about it being at the Shot just because, you grow up Buckeye fans and you're watching the Buckeyes play there, then you're playing there. It was one of the big adjustments was coming here to Dayton. I live in Dayton. I love that it's here. But just talk about what that transition has been like. Obviously, you being a Buckeye guy yourself, seeing the state tournament move from Columbus to here, but a great host site nonetheless.
Yeah, I think, a lot of people are always going to have an issue with change. It's not comfortable when you have something that's new. Having it at the Shot, and even when it was in St. John's and those places, everybody knew where to go. You had your favorite spots and all of that. So folks had to get out of their own paradigm in order for them to really look at something new. And then also giving other parts of the state an opportunity to have a little bit of this atmosphere, I think has been really, really good. And I think that moving it, while difficult for a lot of people at first, once they get here and see this atmosphere and see how unique it is, how comfortable it is, how warm it is, I think that people will really understand why this is a really good move. And I think that it's a good move for a number of reasons, but I think it also exposes folks to a different part of the state. And Dayton has been so welcoming to high school athletics when we had the track and field and had to move that here because of the track in Columbus. They have been so welcoming, so I feel good for them. I think Scott alluded to having 2 facilities is another change, but all of these things have been, I think, really fantastic in showing how adapted the association can be. And I think that once you get here and get part of this atmosphere, you forget where it is, you just get into where you are.
Absolutely. And look, the thing about the city of Dayton, they love their basketball. I mean, last weekend was the OHSAA girls basketball state championships, went right into the first 4. They tore the first floor down, put this floor back on, got it set up for the boys tournament. I mean, there's so much basketball happening in this city. They embrace basketball. And Candace, you saw it last week with the girls tournament. That's what tipped everything off.
Yeah, just an incredible tournament. You mentioned listening to Scott about the expanded divisions. A lot of times, though, the same teams get to the same championships. We have a lot of dominant programs here in Ohio, and especially with the girls team. We saw some undefeated teams try to recapture championships. We saw a buzzer beater from a senior to send her team into overtime and then run away with the title in the Division I title game with Fairmont and Kayla Thornton. So, yeah, we had an incredible weekend last weekend with the girls. And then, like you said, the first 4 was here. People got to see Charles Barkley and Dick Vitale sitting courtside, only to turn around and get to have the boys tournament here this weekend. So just an all-around fascinating time for basketball in the state of Ohio.
I tell you what, when I checked into my hotel at the Marriott across the street,
who'd you see?
I said, I saw an incredible, welcoming woman checking me in. And I said, wow, in 10 days you've had the girls' state championships, you've had the first 4, you've had us, like no break. I said, you guys must be tired. She says, no, we love it. We love it. And I said, and we love you too for doing it.
All right, well, good stuff. You hear the large crowd behind us. They're excited. They're getting jacked up. We've crowned 3 state champions. Let's do another one, and we still have a handful more to go. How about that? Trotwood out of Division III, Wyoming out of Division IV, Lutheran East out of Division V, and now we're in Division VII. The Kalida Wildcats and Delphus St. John's. The Blue Jays getting set to go head-to-head, and we got a good one for you here. Delphus hasn't lost a game all season. They tipped off the season with the win over Kalida. We'll see if they can close out the season with the win against Kalida. Guys, thank you so much for giving us some time
Thanks
today.
for having us.
Absolutely. For Candace Allen, I'm Justin Kidder, TKDS. We appreciate you tuning in and hanging out with us. We'll do this again ahead of our Division VI state championship coming up later on tonight. Thank you, everybody.
At Raising Cane's, we hand batter every chicken finger, mix every cane sauce, butter every Texas toast, stir every slaw, and salt every fry. Because when you do it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.